That's right. One of them was.
Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. Get started. Before we get rolling too much, we do have a new member here today. Chuck, if you'd like to introduce yourself and any additional comments. Less than 30 seconds. I'm kidding.
Chuck Brorman, El Paso County Treasurer, former El Paso County Clerk and Recorder, and just happy to be invited and be a part of this meeting. So I hope I can lend some of my experience in manufacturing and engineering and government a good use here for the committee.
Well, we're glad to have you representing as Chuck Broman instead of on a political level. So very good. Yeah. Appreciate it. Okay. Jared, before we get going too much, do we have enough online that we have a quorum? Good to go. Okay. Thank you. And since we've done that, Welling was doing a quick count. Okay. Okay, moving on. Do we have an approval for the agenda? A motion on that? Yeah, does everybody have the revised agenda? I guess I should ask. And if you don't, obviously Jared has it on screen. I think there's still a couple of copies over on the table.
I believe it did. It was Friday, and I can speak a little bit to the adjustments. So originally we had two additional action items. One was from the Transportation Department to potentially get permission from the board to spend some surface transportation block grant funding for a regional traffic data service, which we've done the past 3 years. That was still in discussion at the TAC, and they decided to table that to next month. So that will come back to you all next month. The second item was a Walden wastewater treatment plant site application. That one was also pulled from the agenda, I believe Friday afternoon. So we do anticipate that coming back to you potentially next month, but there were some questions on a technical level where they needed to be addressed before it could be brought to this level of committee. So
okay.
The other items remain on the agenda, but just wanted to give you some background on why those two items were pulled.
Okay.
Chuck Theobald, City of Colorado Springs. I move we adopt the revised agenda.
And do we have a second?
Welling Clark, El Paso County. Second.
Okay. Any additional discussion? I'm seeing none online. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? And there are none. So we have an agenda for the day. We need to move on to approval of minutes, and I believe Welling had a comment on that one or a revision.
El Paso County, Welling Clark. I reviewed the minutes, and I was looking at the list of quote attendees or the members of the committees, and it was an incomplete list. And I was not on either list for either of these 2 minutes, and I actually made a motion for approval of the agenda at the last meeting. So everything else I saw was correct and on target. If that we can get those lists of the CAC updated, then I would make a motion to approve. So I would make a motion to approve with the understanding that we will update the list of all personnel on the CAC that were in attendance or not in attendance. Okay. I was deleted, and so were some others.
Do you know who the others were?
Not necessarily.
We can go back and review that and
Thank you.
Get that adjusted.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
With that adjustment, Welling Clark, El Paso County, I recommend approval of both sets of minutes with the recommendation or with the adjustments to be made.
Okay. And do we have a second?
Carrie Storm,
Kathy.
Manitou Springs, second.
Okay. We've had a motion, a second. Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And there are none. So that's minutes are approved with your adjustments to them. Jared, do we have any comments or anyone online?
So, Mr. Chair, I'll just ask anyone who's online to please use the raise hand function if they'd like to provide public comment at this time. Anyone in the room could go to the podium at this time. While we're waiting for those two things to happen, I'll just let the committee know that we did not receive any advance requests for public comment, and we did not receive any written public comment that we would have distributed to the community members in advance of this meeting. Seeing no hands raised online and no one rushing the podium, I think we can move forward at your discretion.
Jared, on my screen, I see a phone number of 937 with a hand raised.
That is Mr. Clark. The other Mr. Clark.
Hello, El Paso County. This is Kevin Clark. I just wanted to check in, let you know I was here attending virtually. I'm out of the lower 48 right now.
Not sure I understood what was said.
Sorry, I'll try to be clear. I'm in a place of not great reception. Out of the country right now, but I still wanted to attend. And that was just a signal letting you know that I'm here.
Got you. Okay, understood now. And thank you very much. Anyone else? And I'm not seeing anyone else. Thank you for that, Mr. Clark. Okay, the action item is Josh presenting that, or okay.
Thank you, committee, for being here this afternoon and giving up your time volunteering on this committee. This amendment request comes from CDOT's Division of Transit and Rail, and it would be a new project to the fiscal year 25 through 29 TIP. It's the Monument Mobility Hub. This project is part of CDOT's 10-year plan, which was presented to you, I believe, last month or the month prior. And it will receive $50,000 in fiscal year 26 funding and $450,000 in fiscal year 2027 funding through Senate Bill 267. I'll now turn it over to CDOT to share more about the project details and answer any questions you guys may have. Thank you.
And who do we have on CDOT speaking?
Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Barden. I work with CDOT's Division of Transit and Rail, and I'll be representing for this project.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll just give a quick rundown. So we're planning on making some improvements to the Monument Mobility Hub for Bustang. Just some right now we're planning on some basic design for this year, and then based off of what the design kind of comes out with and what is deemed as necessary and appropriate for this project, we're planning on just adding some improvements to the spot. Let me pull it up real quick.
Yeah, and Emily, I can jump in a little bit there too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So I'm Scott Skinner, transit liaison down here in Region 2. We're going to be doing a lot. What Emily said, we're going to be doing some ADA improvements. The county is planning on doing a roundabout there on on that street. I can't remember the street name right now, but there's going to be a roundabout there. Lake on Woodmore there. Yeah, thank you for pulling that up. Yeah, on Woodmore there. So we're going to let them really do that roundabout, and then we'll follow in behind them with our improvements and everything. There's some drainage improvements that we'll need there. Some of the drains are heaving a little bit with a freeze thaw kind of cycle and everything. So we'll be doing those, some striping, a little bit of curb cuts, and it's just a lot of curb and gutter work is really what we're going to be looking at there.
A quick question. What's the proximity of that to the high school in the area?
You know, I don't.
Let me see.
The map wasn't real big, and I was just trying to get a feel for it.
You know, I'm not too familiar with the area, so I would have to defer to somebody else that's in the area there.
I think we got a good enough answer.
I can tell. I'm Karen Lesby from Monument, if you want me to tell you.
Sure.
Yeah, so Palmer Ridge is probably just a mile to the north. And then you've got Lewis Palmer, which is probably another mile to the south. So not too far away, but a lot of Palmer Ridge traffic comes through that area from the north.
Yeah, that's why I was asking about, I was wondering about the traffic.
Yeah, and still to be determined. There's some additional housing development that may go on up there. But, well, that's good. Well, I do have one question. Will the structure in the parking lot, I guess where people can stand, that'll stay the same then?
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, we should keep it pretty similar and everything. We were going to be putting in a bus structure there, so just a bench and a metal structure there, just so people can get out of the weather there. There'll be an info board there, and just a few of those little amenities, maybe some trash and stuff pick up, but nothing too grandeur.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, Gary Sugar at large. And could you just clarify where the roundabout is? The roundabout going to be on State Highway 105 and Woodmore Drive?
Yes. So right there, if you're looking at the screen there, it's going to be on the north side there of Woodmore. So not Lake Woodmore, but it'll be just Woodmore there. And that's will be the roundabout will be. And that'll be a county project, El Paso County project.
Thank you.
Chuck. And Chuck Theobald, City of Colorado Springs. You mentioned an info board, and I'm curious what information is typically displayed, and if and who's responsible for providing the information that's on the board.
So the information's probably going to be, it's mostly going to be information on busting routes going through the area. So the south line of busting. The maintenance of the information and the wayfinding will be CDOT's responsibility.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, go ahead. Continue with your presentation since we interrupted you.
No, that's fine. I don't know if there's anything else.
Yeah, no, I think that's about. Yeah, that should be about it of the planned improvements there and everything. So we have about $500,000. So I mean, we have enough to do those improvements and everything, but nothing more there at the current time. So yeah, that's about all we've got to present on right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And if there's no more questions at this time, we need a presentation. Oh, Welling.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Welling Clark, El Paso County. Two questions, actually. One, it was stated that the roundabout will be a county project. Was that already in the works by the county with regards to PPACG for inserting that roundabout? I'm just curious from the standpoint, and where I'm coming from is this is a new project that looks like with new funding, but just a few months ago, we had a rescission where we moved almost 25% of projects from our capital plan through PPACG because the state reduced funding across the entire state of Colorado. And then I see this new one coming in. Does that change? I mean, I'm just saying we were short money. We pulled the projects and recommended reducing the projects. And now I see new projects coming in. And then the statement made by the county, that's a county project. Does that mean El Paso County is on the hook to pay for it?
So to my understanding, the roundabout is not a part of the mobility hub improvements for this project. That's a separate project going on near this project. And so this project, the Mobility Hub improvements, that was a project that was planned back in, I believe it was 2019, and it was put on the 10-year plan list. And so this project was planned and the funds were allocated back in 2019. And so now we're moving along with it.
Got it. Okay, so in other words, the funding was already approved, and the actions we took about 2-3 months ago, where we did a rescission on a number of projects because of lack of funding withdrawn by the state, did not affect that. And this is listed as a new project. But the Mobility Hub is a new project. Okay.
Sorry.
Different pot of money, Will.
Right.
It is a different pot of money. The funding that was taken back by the state was multimodal and mitigations fund.
Got it.
Money, and this is a separate fund specifically for those priority projects from the CDOT 10-year list.
Okay. And so the roundabout was actually then a county project that was already planned for and funded? Is that a correct statement?
I believe so. I think Josh had brought that up during PPRTA, but I will ask him and get back to you.
Yeah, I believe that's a PPRTA and county project.
Okay. Thank you. I'm finished.
Oh, got it. Okay. And is that all you have, Will? Chuck
Broman. I was wondering, I've used that parking ride a lot over the years. Our family has as a central gathering point. How is the surface layer of that parking lot? Is it in good shape? Is there any consideration of having to resurface that at any time?
I think there were for the park and ride, there are some concerns on tripping hazards and kind of the word's escaping me, the condition of the parking lot. And so that's definitely going to be taken into account for the design. And then funding willing, we're going to do what we're able to. And then if there are more necessary improvements that are needed beyond the funding we have, we'll table those items for a later date when we have more funding for it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good afternoon. This is Teresa Cheek at Large. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Wonderful. My question real quick is on this project submittal form, it's listed as the performance measure being for congestion, but the description that we heard was about drainage and striping and curb cuts. I'm just trying to understand how that helps congestion.
So the goal for these improvements for the Mobility Hub is to get more people to use the busting operating through the area. It's not necessarily, I guess we could mark it as pavement condition, but it's not really for like the roads. It's more for the pavement condition of the park and ride. I guess it's kind of up to interpretation.
Almost sounds like it could go under safety too.
It's fair.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. That was all I had.
Okay, Kathy.
Kathy Heisey Callahan. I noted on the bottom of this page that's up on the screen, page 11, in your table, the state source for SB 267 does not add across to the total project costs.
Yeah.
And that column does not add down. So you might want to make that correction.
Yeah.
Yes, Emily did. Oh, go ahead, Emily.
Sorry. Yeah, no, that was brought to my attention as well. And so, yeah, I did submit I just submitted an amendment or an updated form today. So I didn't get the chance to send it for the agenda, but yeah, we did make that correction. So the total project cost is now $500,000.
That's what the board wants to see. Anyone else? Anything, Chuck?
So I'm looking at page 14 of the agenda under Region 2, and it lists the Monument Park and Ride as designed for $500,000, and it sounds like the $500,000 is actually for implementation. Is that parenthetic design important to what we're talking about here?
So yeah, that funding is going to be design and implementation funding. So there'll be we'll be able to get everything done with what we have there with 500,000. The design will be small and everything. We already have a onboard specs for bus shelters and everything. So we won't have to go out and get those specs and everything. And with the county doing some of the drainage work along their project, that'll reduce the cost for us to do some of the construction and everything. So we should be able to fit everything under that 500,000.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? If not, I'll entertain a motion at this time to accept, to move it on to the board, I should say. Is that you, Chuck?
Chuck Broman, member at large, I move that we move the project onto the board.
Chuck Theobald, City of Colorado Springs, just because I'm amused by both Chucks making and seconding the motion, I'll second that one.
Okay, thank you, Chucks. Any additional comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? There are none. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, Jason online. You have, oh, you're not online. You're in person. I'm sorry. Yeah, I looked at this and I looked up and I said, oh, okay, he's both places.
We do have a person online, so you'll get to have both kinds of fun today. So
two Jasons,
everybody. Just going to talk briefly. I'm going to give a little introduction to put this project in context and then turn it over to the expert we have online from our consultant. So the Complete Streets Toolbox is being developed for a couple of reasons. First is to help comply with funding requirements for the Infrastructure and Jobs Act. So some of that funding is contingent on spending a certain amount of attention to complete streets. So this project will help satisfy those requirements. Second, to be a resource for all of our member governments, actually including rural prairie and mountain towns, which you don't normally associate with complete streets, but that's all about being context sensitive. It's a completely voluntary resource and guidance document for communities to use at their discretion. It's not a plan and doesn't have a project list or a budget or anything like that. It's just a guidance document. The project began early this year, and we're hoping to have it wrapped up within the calendar year. So it's a relatively small budget project, but I think it's been thoughtfully executed so far by our Olson consultants. We're pretty happy with their work. A lot of work was done actually meeting with all of our member governments to discuss what complete streets might mean in their local context and how this product can be helpful for them. So we just wanted to be very responsive. It is a draft document at this point. We're expecting to make a lot of smaller refinements, but the basic content, the essential organization and structure are ready for review. So we'd love to get any comments that you may have. Following this and incorporating any comments we get, the next step will be to come back and get your recommendation formally of the final draft next month before asking the board for approval in November. A little word on that approval. So we're not going to be asking the board to make the kind of adoption that would turn this into regional policy, but rather just a simple approval of the toolbox as an acceptable resource for member governments that or partners that should choose to use it. With that, I'll turn it over to one of our lead consultants, Katie Salerno, who's online, who has just a few slides and some brief remarks.
Perfect. Thank you, Jason. Can everyone hear me? Just want to do a quick sound check.
We're fine.
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. And then is it okay if I share screens or do you have my slides?
You can try sharing.
All right. Do we see that?
Yes.
All right.
Well, like Jason said, my name is Katie Salerno, and I'm a transportation planner at Olson working on the Complete Streets Toolbox project. We're very pleased to present this for your comments and hopefully a recommendation in the future. As Jason said, this was primarily due to some some federal requirements, this project. It was actually funded by FHWA as part of a grant program. Our big goal of this project was to develop a set of elements, policies, best practices, basically a set of resources that would be applicable to all of the varied members of the Pikes Peak region. Something that could be a great resource guide as agencies start to explore complete streets policies and themes. As Jason said, we're in the final stages of this project. We're in phase 3. There were 3 phases. That first part was a lot of stakeholder engagement, just trying to understand how comfortable everyone is with complete streets topics and themes. And then those final 2 phases were kind of taking everything that we'd heard and funneling it into a structure for this resource document, trying to hit all of the different themes and questions that we had heard. So like we said, we talked with as many stakeholders as possible. This is a list of the different entities that we spoke with. Each was given about a 30 minutes to an hour, kind of dependent, interview, depending on how long the conversation went, essentially, where we kind of just asked, what's your familiarity with complete streets? What do you know about it? How could this toolbox best work for you? If you had to make your golden toolbox, what would be in it? How could this best serve you and your community? We really wanted to understand where everyone is when it comes to these concepts, and just make sure that's useful, because a document that sits on the shelf is not something we ever want to produce. And these are some of the themes that came out of it. It was kind of interesting. We started to hear the same big 4 questions. I want to say the big 4 W's, but there's a how in there. But the big 4 questions that kept coming up throughout our engagement, why would I need this? What is it? How would I even go about implementing it with whatever set of tools that I have? And then, does this actually work where I'm at? And this formed the 4 chapters of our toolbox. So the first chapter there, the why, kind of dives a little bit into what complete streets is at a very high level. We really wanted to let everybody know that complete streets, when you think about it, or at least when I initially, learned about the concept, I always envisioned this big city street that has, a metro bus running down it. It's got bicycle lanes, it's got wide sidewalks, it's got everything that anyone could ever possibly want to use, right? But that's not what, a toolbox, or a complete street is. It's very context driven, it's very context sensitive. A complete street might be a highway with a wider paved shoulder and signs that say a bike can use it. It really depends on, what people want, who wants to use it, what mode of traffic wants to use it, and then, what's available and allowable for different jurisdictions. We talk a little bit about the different elements that can go into it, some of the benefits, the economic benefits or the safety benefits of implementing complete streets practices, and a couple different other benefits in there as well. The what is more what you might think of in a toolbox. It provides links to resources and really great national guidance that's out there by travel mode, so bike, ped, vehicle, transit, that sort of thing. The how then is the, hey, okay, so you're ready, you're interested in doing complete streets in any kind of form or context that you want. How am I supposed to go about it? So dives into some policy development if you're interested in that, some different funding strategies, and then some low or no cost implementation strategies if you're at that point and maybe you just didn't get the grant that year, that type of thing. And then finally, the where, kind of going full circle back to the beginning. This is applicable anywhere really. A complete street could be a rural road, it could be a rural highway, it could be a very urban downtown, it could be a mountain town that has a main street that's very, very narrow. It could be anything. So just making sure that we provided design guidance, national design guidance, that's out there from NACDO, links to basically anything. So if you're starting your journey with complete streets, or if you're well into it, there's different guidances for the level of where you're at. So the big elements I already kind of touched on a little bit, but our case studies and our resource links were the biggest I'd say the meat of this toolbox. Obviously informed from stakeholder interviews and some of our key themes, but both those case studies and resources we wanted to make sure fit a variety of contexts and a variety of scales, because the Pikes Peak region is very diverse. You've got very small mountain towns like Green Mountain Falls or semi-mountain towns, and then you've got your much larger Colorado Springs type area. So just making sure that this toolbox fit as many as possible. You can't hit everybody, but as many as possible, and try to provide resources that gave everyone the chance to learn about and implement different complete street strategies. So like Jason said, we're at the very end of our project here. So we are looking for any comments that you might have on the draft document, and then hopefully we'll go to the board here in November. Any questions for me or Jason?
Welling, then Chuck.
Okay. El Paso County, Welling Clark, a comment and then a question. The comment I want to say is the document was very well put together, and as a voluntary toolbox, I think is great because it allows the flexibility of the local governments with the resources they have to implement it. The question I would have, so compliments on that, but the question I would have is there going to be a team of people that different municipalities, small ones that may not have a lot of technical people or something to implement this, that they can reach out to, kind of like a mentor team? Is that something that's going to be here, or is this just a standalone document that'll be given out?
At this point, it's pretty much a standalone.
Okay.
But there is, I mean, one of the hopes is that some expertise will go around this a little bit. And I know City of Colorado Springs has a complete streets policy of their own, although it's an actual policy and not just a guide. But as of now, it's mostly a standalone. One thing that the document does is it provides comparable policies, documents, plans to similar regions, sort of peer regions. And so even though it's not a super long document, there are a lot of references and links out to additional resources, but hopefully a little bit of regional expertise grows up around this over time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Chuck Brorman, El Paso County. Question under the Y section, you mentioned that economically that it benefits communities for doing this. Is there a study that one can point to that shows the rationale for how it economically makes sense to incorporate some of these things? And then I have another follow-up question.
Okay.
I can start out answering, but feel free to jump in anytime, Katie. There's a few different areas where there's economic benefits to complete streets. There's quite a few studies about the economic benefits of accommodating different modes of transportation where it's appropriate, like downtown areas, corridors where people want to see certain types of economic development. They tend to increase the retail sales per square foot from retail establishments in those areas. And that's kind of a whole rabbit hole. But one that I've personally heard, especially from smaller towns, is they really help with a sense of place and community identity. So if you can have that, I've had a few small towns complain that people went through our town, they didn't even know they were in our town, and so they kind of came out the other side, didn't even know they were there. So it can incorporate those sort of community identity elements, signage, gathering places, things like that. And I just mentioned that because that's one that I've actually heard quite a bit myself.
And then is funding contingent on project funding contingent on whether or not a community adopts this toolbox?
Generally, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and definitely not for this toolbox. There's some funding out there that's contingent on having some kind of complete streets policy, but generally no, and not in this case.
Yeah, I think some of this stuff is very nice, but at the same time, I think most people want capacity and not the narrowing of streets and losing that capacity. We have enough congestion the way it is, and adding bike lanes and calming, road calming things and road dieting, I think runs counter to what I think most of the electorate is looking for in projects.
Yeah, agreed. That's definitely an issue, and that's one of the things that's talked about in the document, is that not not all complete streets type measures are appropriate in all areas.
Okay.
So one needs to be sensitive to that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
To kind of follow up on what Chuck was talking about on the funding, does Complete Streets give you an opportunity to go after more grants because of it being a little bit different than what traditional grants are?
There definitely are complete street specific grants out there, or there are grants that they're essentially complete streets by another name. So they don't tend to be super huge grants, but those opportunities are out there. Do you know of any specific ones, Katie, that you could talk about?
I know of a few. I do not know the status of their status in the federal government at this time, but there are a few out there. I do think we link to a couple of pages where those that are current are still available.
And I think that those opportunities are out there at both the state and federal level. They just may not be called complete streets. Okay. But that's essentially what they do. And having something like this in place and having a community that has a definite idea and that's prepared to do something like this will improve their chances of getting grants like that.
Okay. Anyone else with a question? Comment? Check again.
Well, El Paso County, Will Clark. Just want to say that last discussion prompted a question I have is, does this has information how to reach out to the different federal agencies for USDA, like rural development and other entities? They're primarily focused on infrastructure, not for the big towns, but for the small rural towns that may need, I'll say, subject matter help or tying grants together. Is that documented in here? I didn't see that.
Katie, do you want to take that one?
Thank you. I think so. I understood your question. You're asking if it mentioned how to work with other organizations or with one organization specifically.
Actually, there's a couple of different organizations at the federal level, and like Colorado has a Department of Rural Development where there covers a lot of different infrastructure type issues, and I'm just curious if this is applicable to that to reach out, because banking wise, rural development for USDA is the 7th largest bank in the United States. So I'm just curious if there's information in there that would allow someone to reach out to get grants from other sources as well, or give them ideas.
Yeah, I will double check on that. I know that we link to several state programs and grants that might be applicable to getting funding for some of these projects. I will definitely double check and make sure that one is included. If it's not, it doesn't ring a bell, so I think it's not, but that's a really great, I'm really glad that you brought that up so that we can include that resource.
The reason I bring that up is my wife is the director for the state of Colorado for rural development, and I'm learning all types of things that the organizations do and how they link with other organizations and getting cooperative grants working together to achieve capital projects that individually could not be done. So I'm just curious if there's been looked at for that. If not, feel free to reach out, contact PPHG. They have my contact information. I'd be glad to help and put you on that information. And I'll be asking my wife some questions tonight. Thank you.
That's great. That would be fantastic. And while we were talking, I just wanted to get a couple of examples for you. So an example of a complete streets type program by another name in the state is the Revitalizing Main Streets program. That's very adjacent to a complete streets type project. And then Colorado Community Revitalization Grants. So, and then there are other opportunities federally that are specific to complete streets, but those are just from the state. So there's a bunch of those opportunities out there.
Hey, Chuck.
So I've followed this correctly. Are we on item number 6 right now?
Yes, 6A.
Yeah, and so just for my understanding, a previous motion failed by the board by a vote of 6 to 10. Is that regarding the adoption of complete streets, or that another item?
Yeah, I believe that was the minutes for the
last meeting.
for the CDOT 10-year plan
Oh.
for another meeting. Yep, different item.
I lost you.
I apologize.
I don't see it.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else with a question or comment? And I'm seeing none online, so thank you for the information.
Yeah, great questions and comments. Thank you.
Yes,
Hopefully it
thank you.
helps. And then we get to go to Danil.
Yes, thank you. I just have a couple of items that I wanted to share with you all. I won't be at the October meeting, so I'm bringing this a little bit ahead of time. Two members, we have two members whose first terms will expire in November. Ed Dills is one of those. Fortunately for us, Rayma has already submitted a letter to reappoint Ed. The other one is Andrea Perry. So I'll be reaching out to her and the League of Women Voters to see if she'd like to continue or if they would like to appoint a new representative. We do have several vacancies. One is Hey Neighbor has not appointed a new representative yet. We also have a few local jurisdictions that are currently have open member seats. If you know somebody who would like to join the CAC and is interested in reaching out to one of those communities to perhaps be appointed, please let us know. We're happy to kind of help link people with those jurisdictions. We also have two more additional spots for community organizations. So our bylaws, I believe, allow for 5 community organizations. My mic is not on. I'm sorry. I believe our bylaws allow for 5 community organizations. Right now we have 3 slots filled. If you know of a community organization such as KONO or NEPCO or the League of Women Voters that might be interested in having someone sit with us, we, again, understanding that you're all volunteers and we want to value all of your time. But if you do know someone who might be interested or an organization who might be interested, we would greatly appreciate you reaching out to folks. Second, as I noted that I'm a little early in bringing this, but just wanted everyone to be aware that probably at the November meeting, we'll talk about officers for the next calendar year. Because at the Community Advisory Committee, we do officers on a yearly basis. In the past, we've done nominations and voted on those officers at the same meeting. If you'd like to proceed with that, if you're comfortable with that, we will plan that in November. That way we have a month of just extra time in case it's needed. If you'd prefer to do the nomination subcommittee or some other process, please let me know. But I think unless there are concerns, we'll go ahead and plan to have the November meeting talk about officers for next year. And then lastly, I just wanted to mention to everyone, looking ahead at the calendar, November's meeting is set for the day before Thanksgiving, and the December meeting is set for New Year's Eve, because we fall on the last Wednesday of the month. So if you know you're not going to make those meetings, please let us know. If it looks like on our end that we're running against quorum issues, then we can reach out to folks and see if we can get those rescheduled for a better time. I know that holidays can be difficult, but we also don't want to skip a CAC meeting if we can avoid that. So just let me know if you have any questions or if you want to weigh in on anything now. Happy to take any information you might have.
Okay, El Paso County, Welling Clark. Danelle, can you get us a list of the vacancies of the CAC so we can look at the different municipalities and areas?
Yes, absolutely. Can send that out to you.
Anyone else? Okay. Any member announcements, comments? And I'm seeing none.
Go ahead. 2 announcements.
Yes.
On October 7th, at the beginning of the Board of County Commissioners meeting, the county commissioners are issuing a proclamation for the U.S. Navy turns 250 years old. Doesn't look a day over 200, but it's 250. Anybody who's interested would like to attend is most welcome. And the second announcement is that the National Museum of World War II Aviation is going to host what they call a fly day, and they're going to have their P-38 Lightning that was actually flown by Fire Chief Randy Royal's dad in World War II out flying, and then also a briefing on superchargers and things of that relative to World War II. It's going to be the second Saturday of the month for October. So just want to let everybody know about that.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? And okay, and Danelle pretty much covered meeting schedule. So my only question before we leave is on the last meeting of the year, I think the 31st or whatever, is that one that we could do entirely virtual if in the event we decide to keep it going on that date?
We certainly can. Yeah, either November or December or both. If you prefer, we can certainly do virtual.
Okay. Okay, anybody else? Well, thank you for being part of the group now, Chuck. And with that, we're adjourned.